Welcome to the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast, a podcast dedicated to the pharmacy profession. Daniel Good and Tim Mitchell are your co-hosts today, and we're excited to bring you the latest from the frontiers of pharmacy practice. Let me remind our listeners that the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast is available for streaming on your favorite podcast streaming app, whether it be Apple, Podbean, Spotify, or YouTube. Be sure to bookmark and like our podcast to get notifications on the latest release. The comments and opinions shared today are those of our hosts, our guests, and not official statements of the Missouri Pharmacy Association, Mercy, nor Mitchell Pharmacy. Now let's introduce our guest. Tim and I are excited to welcome Tom. I messed it up already, Tom DePietro. He is the pharmacist owner at DePietro's Pharmacy there in Dunmore, Pennsylvania, right? That's on the outskirts of Scranton, Pennsylvania. Welcome, Tom.
Thanks for having me. I'm a big fan of Tim Mitchell. I follow his Facebook, so it was an honor to be invited onto his podcast today.
Oh well, we appreciate having you on, and I'm a big fan of you as well, Tom. So, but anyhow, go ahead.
And we're excited to let the rest of the country get to know you and some of the innovative practices that you're doing within your practice setting there. That's very cool for us. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation.
So tell us how you got into this practice setting then. Am I right there? You're on the outskirts of Scranton, Pennsylvania, but you really have 3 pharmacies in one. Tell us how you got into that.
Yeah, so we're right next to Scranton, Pennsylvania, as everyone knows the office. So whenever I'm on vacation, everybody wants to talk about the office. But yeah, I graduated from Temple University Pharmacy School in 2009. I worked for a chain pharmacy a little over a year out of school. I had I love retail pharmacy. I just love interacting with patients, love building relationships, love leading teams. So at the chain pharmacy, I was a staff pharmacist, but then quickly got into like a leadership role. I was managing one of their mid-level store volume, and then I went to the largest level, managing a 24-hour store. But it was kind of like a little unfulfilling, right? Like it was, I was building the relationships, having great customer interactions, but they're like, hey, they didn't do the score. Or the drive-through wasn't answered quick enough, or like this customer didn't complete the thing. I said, yeah, but they love me and they love the service. Isn't that count or something? So it was, I share this moment as the breaking point, but I was in the drive-through trying to get one of my customers' credit cards unstuck from the drive-through tube. And it was at that point I called my dad and I said, Dad, I'm going back to school. I'm not going to be a pharmacist anymore. And he's like, what do you mean? You just graduated pharmacy school. You can't just change your career now. But I knew I didn't want to do that. So I started to look for other jobs. I took a job with a drug company. They built a community pharmacy team. And that job brought me in and out of 25 pharmacies a day. I would visit pharmacies, and the goal of this job was to really get our pharmacists to educate patients on our products, how to use this inhaler device, because people are supposed to be refilling it 12 months out of 12, and they're getting it 3 months out of 12. Well, the fact of the matter is that the patient didn't know how to use it. They didn't properly know how to take the drug. The pharmacist really didn't know how to use it. But anyway, it was at that time where it was like, no pharmacy I went into was like addressing patients or carving out time to even like give me 2 minutes of their day. And I was just like, what are we doing here? Like, the purpose of pharmacy is to be engaging and helping our customers along their health. But I wasn't seeing that from Scranton all the way down to Allentown. So it was that at that point in time where I said, okay, I'm going to do my own pharmacy against the advice of all of the owners that I was talking to. I said to myself, if this isn't it, if it's not ownership, then I truly need to find what's going to fulfill me for a career. And that was,
and this was probably what, 2015, 2016, something like that.
Yep, I opened a pharmacy March of 2012, March 4th of 2012. So we just celebrated our 14th year this year.
Congratulations.
Challenges, but it's the reward. It's been such a rewarding endeavor. Like, I look back to day one, it was me and my wife and a pharmacy technician. My wife says it's the worst year of her life. She was a pharmacy delivery driver for a year, and she said that was the worst job she's ever held. And funny because I was locked in a lease of a Mercedes Benz, like a base model. But that was our delivery car for the first year. So I used to make her park a block away from the destination, because I said, we can't be showing up in a Mercedes, but I don't have money to buy anything else. And so she would have to park like, a block away to deliver the customers' medicines. Because I said, we can't be showing up to customers' houses in Mercedes. We're a brand new business. But the team of 30, so I had 4 other pharmacists, and probably about 5-6 delivery drivers, and then the rest would be our pharmacy technicians that balance us out. And just over as the industry changes, being able to pivot and meet the needs of the community, especially you look at COVID, and you look at has community pharmacy ever had such a positive impact throughout our time, I guess, as a profession? And I don't think so. I think no. I think that really solidified what a pharmacy could do quickly, and kind of responding to the needs of the community and being able to pivot on a dime. Large corporations, I look at them like a Carnival cruise ship. By the time they make a decision, man, it took them weeks or months to turn that ship around. Where Tim and I, we roll up our sleeves that day. Right. And we're like, no, this is going to change today.
Right. Right.
And I think that has been, what I believe to be the difference of independent pharmacy versus chain pharmacy is, we could pivot relatively quick to meet the needs of our customers, and we do it daily.
Absolutely. I call it being nimble, being nimble and just quick on your toes. And yeah, I'm right there with you. When I see what happened during COVID and how quickly independents stepped up to the challenge, and we weren't handed that from the very beginning. We had to kind of say, hey, we're here, we can take on this challenge. And then we did. And, we started doing all the things we did, whether it be immunizing or whatever. It's definitely been a game changer. So talking about game changers, and I mean, it sounds like you've had just an amazing 14 years of, and even years before that, of just learning about you and how your business has grown, how your people have, like you said, they love you. They want to come to DePietro's Pharmacy. They want to get that service. Tell us kind of what kind of things you're doing right now. I mean, I follow you on social media. You're very active, and there's a lot of cool things going on at DePietro's. Tell us some of your favorite things that you've got going on right now and how they're taking care of your patients. Maybe.
Yeah. And, that's what I always stress to our staff, is it's always about the customer, right? Like, and the second that just becomes a talking point and you're not doing it day in and day out, then that's when I see like guys kind of lose track of their business, because, they think they're making the right decision for their business, but they forgot about the customer. Right. So my biggest thing is, like, we always have to keep the customer's experience at the forefront. And then technology is just something I love this profession. I'm like a pharmacy owner, like geek, right? So like, I love being able to like introduce new technology. I was at a trade show in 2016. I saw like the script clip bag system, and I thought that was cool. I wanted that. I bought a Parada Pass machine like 2 years into it, 2014. And they're like, no, this is for like a nursing home. Like, you don't service nursing homes, right? I'm like, no, but like, we're doing a ton of pill packages with our hands. And like, I want to do that for home-based patients. Right. And they're like, yeah, but you're going to get like one patient at a time. Like, that's going to take a while. So this was before like strip packaging was really big. Yeah. So I bought that machine in 2014, 2 years into ownership.
Well, you set the curve right there, buddy. Wow. Because everybody wants it now.
One at a time. Like, today we have about 705 patients that we do home-based pill organization, but we
Wow.
started with 5 patients, and we would
Yeah.
just move those 5 names on a calendar.
Yeah.
And then now it's at 700. So then like
Crazy.
I bought a Script Pro for vial filling. So like we would continue to get busier. And then the only way that you can continue to meet the needs of the customer, right, to consider to give them that touch point is to lean on the technology. So, you know, in the pharmacy, we have a script clip system, we have a couple Vivids, we have an Icon, we just put in some data entry bots. So like I'm very eager to lean into AI, but I'm still a pharmacist, right? I'm still like that black and white thinker. I don't really see much gray, so I'm not easy to just like sway. I need like a strong argument why I should do that. So low level data, like where I thought is like, let me get data entry bots in here to do some like low level AI. And I don't even know if you should call it AI, but I guess it is because it's
Sure.
not us doing it.
Right.
And that has just in the past 2 weeks has like really moved my operations to the second level. And what I say by that is like we would initially have 2 technicians to come in and just do data entry for the first hour of the day. Then my technicians start to fill. Then the pharmacist check. Then we hang the bags and the customer gets checked out. We added 40 feet of bag space, bag racks. And I thought we'll grow into that. Because we're expediting the fill process with the data entry bots. We've already filled the 40 feet of will call bag area, and I have more bags on order. And we just keep ordering bags. So we've been able to like efficiently move our workflow up.
So that first hour or two of the day is no longer inputting. I mean,
we're walking into a clean eScript queue. I mean, there's not prescriptions to process. So like I'm able to like now deploy those data entry technicians. One of them is filling prescriptions, but now the other one is just interacting with customers. So like
handling insurance issues
when you look at a pharmacy and how it's built, I mean, you have your strongest technician doing data entry because of the sensitivity around it. But quite honestly, that should not be your most talented.
No.
And so now I'm able to like free up my 2 really talented technicians to not just be at a keyboard all day. And I talk to pharmacists all day long, and I was there too. I mean, I'd be waking up on Monday morning and processing e-scripts from home, so my staff could get a jump start. Or during the day, jumping into the queue to like get us caught up in the day. So I think these challenges, technology will minimize these challenges. A, will you embrace the new technology? But then B, what do you do with that time that you pick up, right? Are you going to service your customer? Or are you going to now cut the staff? And then lose that touch, right? So these are all decisions that need to be made. But if the customer is not at the forefront of the decision, and it's your business, like, oh, I'm going to get these so then I don't have to pay payroll. That may be to a point. But if you're not meeting the needs of your customer, then all the technology in the world is not going to help you.
Right. Well, so, you know, I know I've just talked with my staff about exactly what you just mentioned. They're all like, well, are you going to try to replace us? And I'm like, no, this is going to enable you to do other things. This is going to enable you to be able to focus on taking care of the patients or dealing with specific issues that they may have. And we have community health workers in our stores, so they can actually do some community health worker work as well as be a pharmacy technician and be able to, you know, focus on those types of things. I was curious, with your AI, do you find many mistakes? I mean, I know AI is not 100% accurate on everything it does, do you find many mistakes and or is it about the same as somebody inputting? I mean, I know.
No, and that's a great question. And you know, there's learning. Like you actually have to like give feedback to the company so then it doesn't make these mistakes. Like, you know, some of the mistakes we laugh because it's like, yeah, these are the common mistakes that we would be making if like it wasn't the strongest input technician, but like maybe it's picking like the wrong albuterol. Maybe like you have a preferred albuterol inhaler that you always use, but it's not picking that one. Or notoriously, the doctor will send over Z-Pak as directed #1. So like the robot is literally going to type what the doctor wrote. It's not going to say, well, he really means as directed is take 2 tablets today and then 1 tablet thereafter. And he really means 6. Like it's literal. It's taking what it sees and it's typing it. So,
Right.
so those things are going to come up in the day. But I rather deal. What I try to say is like if you had 500 action items to take with fingers, right? And I told you 400 of them were going to get removed, but you still had to do those 100. There's still going to be the need for people to be involved in the store.
Yeah.
And there's still going to be errors to be made, but it's how do you set yourself up for the day to be able to serve the customers? And with Rite Aid's closing in our area, you know, we were inundated with customers. I needed to hire a pharmacist and a technician before I even took a customer. I said, no, we're not going to ruin our reputation over this. I said, we have a waiting list. When I get my pharmacist trained and the technician trained, we'll take new customers. But until then, I'm not going to just take a customer just to take a customer and then give poor service. So I build my foundation first, then we take them. Now, maybe we lost customers during that process because they found a new pharmacy. That's fine. But what I'm not willing to risk is my reputation 14 years into this. So, you know, I think there's a lot of decisions that pharmacy owners need to make in a day. They're all intertwined, but sometimes you don't see them intertwined. And they're tough decisions, as Tim knows. Like some of the decisions are lonely ones to make, and you know,
they can.
Sometimes you're smart and it comes out well, but sometimes they just blow up in your face, and you have to own up and say, you know what, I was wrong. Let's try this. Let's pivot.
Yeah, absolutely. Daniel, did you have some follow-up questions you wanted to throw at Tom?
Well, I want to hear a little bit more about your community service and community involvement. Listening to some of your own podcasts and whatnot, that you have quite a following in the community. One, what are you engaged in, and how do you find time to balance the community involvement with work and with family?
Yeah, I mean that to me just lights me up, right? Like looking at reports just doesn't really do it for me, and like chasing down insurance things. So like, for me to get like my cup filled, so to speak, it's really giving back to the community. Early on, we weren't even open, and people were like coming in like, hey, could you do a raffle basket for this or do this? And I thought to myself, like, Jesus, what is this all about? I'm not even open. And they want like raffle baskets and stuff. It wasn't until I opened a pharmacy or opened my own business that I knew that this may be like a common thing that was happening, because I wasn't even like open yet, and I was already getting reached out to. But yeah, meeting some of these organizations and hearing the work that they do, and just like being inspired by them, and then knowing that like somehow your monetary donation or your participation will help like amplify their message. It is really like what I thrive on. During the summer, we had a kid who was he's like, oh, I want to do a lemonade stand. And he was just looking for some supplies for a lemonade stand. But then we went all out and we built like lemonade kits. We made signage for the kids. We bought lemonade cups. We gave them everything that they would need to do their own lemonade stands. And then we used his idea and invited other kids to come in and do their own lemonade stand. So like it's being able to like Tim said, be nimble, right? So you took that little idea that this child had, and you build upon it, or or you introduce it to other people. And I really think like that's how small communities and small towns move forward, right? Like the noise of the national news is never what is going on in your hometown on that day. So I just think like to move our communities forward, it's small business, man. It's small towns that are just making America what it is today. And I might not be able to control national stuff, but I'm going to control what I can control, right? I could take care of my community. I could support kids' organizations. I could support nonprofits. And then they support me. And if they don't, they don't. But I still think it's such a rewarding part of my day to be able to say, yep, we'll sponsor that, or yep, we'll participate in that. And they're lit up. We're lit up. It's a win-win.
Well, I think that's amazing. Go ahead, Daniel. Sorry.
I was just going to say, I love your approach to that because all politics is local, right? The national stuff you may or may not be able to control, but if you can control your own community, if you can engage the kids, engage their parents, you're going to start making those kind of friends, those kind of influences from the very beginning.
Our seniors, like we really just we love going out to the high rises or like community events and do vaccines, but it's so much more about vaccines. It's the conversations that happen as they're rolling their sleeves up or filling out the paperwork, trying to understand what blood pressure medicine they're on or what supplements they take or what questions that they didn't get answered that they needed answered. And, man, being outside of the pharmacy and next to the customers, that's when you really see people open up and really healthcare being what healthcare should be.
So, Daniel, I noticed on one of your posts something about, did you just recently get elected to the Pennsylvania Pharmacy Association board?
Yeah. So I'm active. I try to be active in the advocacy space because I just feel as though, God, for the past 14 years, I thought, like, how does nobody know this criminal activity is going on? These insurance companies are just stealing from us. Like, why are there not helicopters with, like, SWAT guys raiding their offices?
Yeah.
Right.
But, I mean, as long as I've been, luckily, we now, the community knows what a pharmacy benefit manager is, but they're still doing the same thing that they've been doing. But yeah, so I've been active in the Pharmacy Association just from an advocacy standpoint, and it really it's been rewarding to interact with not just independent pharmacy owners, but like hospital system pharmacists, chain pharmacists, really get like a view of where pharmacy is, not just independent pharmacy, but pharmacy as a whole. And I think like hearing the stories of what pharmacists do and pharmacy technicians do and pharmacy students do on a daily basis really inspires me to push forward for another day. As cheesy as that sounds, the days are long, and sometimes you just need something to like get a little bit of wind at your back and get momentum. And like, today's Thursday, like, so I'm just like, okay, tomorrow's Friday. I'm almost through the week. I'll regroup on Saturday. We have a team meeting on Sunday. Monday, we're back at it. Tuesday, my daughter has ballet. Like all these things are going through an owner's mind in a day. It's not like showing up, putting the computer on, leaving at 5. Like
it's not a 9-to-5 job. It's your life. You're married to it. My wife tells me the pharmacy is my mistress, unfortunately.
Yeah. Yeah, we I think we all have a love-hate relationship with our pharmacy, especially when it comes to home, right? Like this morning, my wife was like, hey, could you just stay home today? And I was like, no, I can't. Like,
I got to be on the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast. That's what I got to be.
Two kids were sick, but like, you have like, your day lined up and like if certain things need to get done. Now, sure, there's days that you could say, okay, yeah, maybe I could stay home, but like not every day is that opportunity to just like, yeah, I'm taking it. Like people are always like, it must be awesome to work for yourself. And I say, listen, I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy most days because as fun as it is, there are some challenges. Picture behind me, a business coach, basically told me I'm the lighthouse. So she said, like, you will be the lighthouse of your pharmacy.
I like
You
it.
know, if the storm is happening around you, you're still going to be standing there. So like when it's nice and sunny out, you're standing there. When it's stormy, you're standing there. It's going to be you. And you know, it's a tough realization, but the sooner you have that realization, I think you come to terms with something. Like, you know, I used to get upset when employees would quit, or like we lost a customer to their mail order. I used to, like, that used to bother me, but like, you grow up and you become more experienced with business and life and changes over time, the ebbs and flows of the industry, the challenges of the industry. So yeah, I mean, that, like, I guess those are the things that people don't kind of see behind the scenes, so to speak.
Absolutely, absolutely. I know. I always use the picture of the iceberg, and everybody always sees the pretty stuff on the top, but then they don't look at all the things underneath, and it's much
Yeah, that's
bigger.
a powerful one.
Yeah, yeah. So we're winding this thing down here, and as I do with most of our podcasts, I always ask our guests if they could share something about themselves that maybe not everybody may know about Tom DePietro, something unique. If you want to, feel free to share that. Just take a couple
Yeah,
minutes.
no, I mean, I would say in the past 2 years, I mean, some people know, some people don't know, but I've kind of been on like this wellness journey. I was on a GLP myself. I lost like 90 pounds.
Wow.
I started CrossFit. So I go to CrossFit every day at 3:30, which really has helped me mentally, especially with like work anxiety and just like mental pressures of owning the business. And then kind of like habit stacked, you know, adding some supplements into that, you know, like taking a one a day, taking a B6, like taking a vitamin D. So really, I guess like over this past 2 years, just trying to like challenge myself to like focus internally on me.
Yeah.
And I think like that has really given me like this new refreshed outlook on life. Like I feel better, I look better, I'm more confident, I'm more you know, willing to do something that I might not have done in the past. So I just think like many days you kind of feel stuck, and I feel like, you know, as a pharmacist, I should have known better. I should have been healthier to just portray it to my customers. So really just taking the time the past 2 years to really invest in myself and to really focus on me and focus on my mental health, focus on my physical health. And for the longest time thinking like that was selfish for me to want to focus on. But you know, just kind of making the decision to say, you know what, no, that's what my priority is going to be. And you know, sometimes it's hard because it's like, you know, hey, could you jump on a conference call at 3:30? No, I go to CrossFit every day at 3:30, and then that's a hard boundary to set. But you know, you're so used to wanting to say, yeah, I'm free, I could do it, or I could help. I'll stay after hours. But you know, no, it's carving out, it's creating that the time for you, because we all need that you time. So I think that's what I'm encouraging a lot of people to just like, you know, focus on their own personal wellness, because it's really been tremendous for me.
Well, and you're that lighthouse in that picture behind you. You're exactly right. You got to take care of that lighthouse, because that's what will help keep people getting to where they need to get through all those storms. So, Daniel, do you want to wind us down here?
Well, Tom, you definitely are a lighthouse and an inspiration for many of us across the country. This has been a very enjoyable podcast to have with you. We certainly appreciate you joining us. Everything from your community involvement from lemonade stands to the strip packaging innovations, and now, of course, what you're doing with AI. We definitely look forward to seeing what's next on your plate and how you're going to push the envelope a little bit farther for us. This has been fantastic.
Yeah, I'm excited for pharmacy. You know, I call me silly, but I think, you know, our best years are ahead of us. And you know what?
I agree.
Maybe I'll be wrong. Maybe I will be wrong. But I don't think I'm gonna be.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, thanks for being on.
Thank you, Tom, and thank you,
Thanks for
Tim,
having
for
me.
co-hosting with us.
All right, we're going to head out, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thank you for joining us today for the Pharmacy Frontiers podcast. And please share this episode with your friends and colleagues and seek out the previous Pharmacy Frontiers podcasts on your favorite podcast channel.